Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So the big question is, who will Manchester United sign in the January transfer window? And I think, we have got quite a few players on our agenda. Obviously, we are all aware that further more investment is needed in the squad. I do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I said. He did recommend, three good players to the squad during the summer. We spent obviously over £140 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. So it's good in the aspect, that we've addressed some of the problematic areas, but obviously, we didn't address all the problematic areas. But I did initially say it was going to be extremely difficult for us, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window. So this is why I did initially say, despite our bad start to the season, I still think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does need at least a couple of windows, to see who else, he can recommend in to the football club. And like I said, I think Solskjaer does want to continue the policy of recruiting them young British players, like he did do earlier on in the summer. So you can see the areas where Man United are lacking, and I think, Solskjaer has identified, the key areas where he thinks Manchester United do need to strengthen up. I do believe his top priority is to recommend the striker in. Also, one of the priority areas is that midfield. Don't forget, for the majority of the summer, we was in search for right winger and that. But I think, analysing it, we need at least three, maybe even four world-class players, if we are to be future title contenders, or if we obviously, want to be back, to where we want to be. Obviously, back to being competitive. But like I said, we need to give Solskjaer at least a couple more windows, to build a team, of course, that can, win trophies and, make us obviously, competitive again. But it was disappointing during the summer because, we didn't get all the players, that we did want to recommend in. And I did say, of our failure to qualify for the Champions League, I think that was one of the main factors that went against us during the summer, because obviously, if you're not in Champions League football, obviously, it's going to, be hard to attract players to elite level. And I did say a lot of players during the summer had element of concerns about joining the football club. But like I said, we've got to give him at least a couple of windows, because you can still quite frankly say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in the process of still rebuilding this Manchester United team. Now, we do know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has now been to the football club overall for 10 months. I think he's actually nearly been here 11 months now. So overall, he's been here, just under a year. Obviously, we recommended Solskjaer in December of last year, following the dismissal of Jose Mourinho. Obviously, Solskjaer, first came into the football club as interim manager, and obviously, he was interim manager for 3 months, and in that 3 month period, he did really well. Obviously, he won his first 8 games. We won 14 out of 19 in all competitions and that, and he did really well. He exceeded expectations and that. The results were good, the performances were good. He was getting the best out of his group of players. But since Solskjaer got the job in March earlier on this year, everything, of course, has just seemed to have all gone wrong. And I think now the vast majority of Manchester United fans, also are obviously demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the football club. They're also, demanding Ed Woodward out of the football club. But I actually said the same thing towards the back end of last season, that we shouldn't have give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. We shouldn't have given him the job too early. I think we should have waited until the end of last season, or we should have waited at some point until this season, to make a decision, whether obviously, want to give him the job and that. But he just hasn't got that managerial experience, to the highest level. So that's another element of concern I've got about him. Obviously he won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. Obviously, he had a really short tenure with Cardiff and that. I think he actually, ended up, getting Cardiff relegated. And, like I said, I think our board are going to be obviously, really soft on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because obviously, he was a club legend. Obviously, he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. Obviously, one of his most iconic moments as a player was back in 1999 when he scored the winner, of course, to win his the treble, which is obviously, the club's greatest achievement. And that's obviously now over 28 years ago now. So that's obviously over 2 decades ago. And Solskjaer, when he was a player, he won 6 Premier Leagues with the club. He won 2 FA Cups, and of course, he did win the Champions League. So in that aspect, he has got that proven pedigree as a player, but hasn't, really got it as a manager. So I don't think he can, succeed as manager at Manchester United. You'll still get certain Manchester United fans like me, backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. I still believe Manchester United are backing him, and I think, Ed Woodward is still convinced that he can turn things around in the football club. But like I said on my video I did earlier on, we are enjoying I think it's, we are enjoying our worst start to a season for 3 decades. So the last time we had a season like this, was back, obviously, I should presume in 1989, was it? I think it's actually, worse under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, than what it was under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, back under the Jose Mourinho era, obviously, it didn't work out under him. Jose Mourinho served 2.5 years at the football club. Obviously, I think, we recommended Jose Mourinho in too late, in my own personal opinion. That maybe you could arguably say if we recommended Jose Mourinho in after, Alex Ferguson retired, then maybe it would have been a different scenario with Manchester United. But one mistake Alex Ferguson made was recommending, David Moyes, and I thought, he should have recommended Jose Mourinho in, because, Jose Mourinho, back in, the old generation, that, Mourinho was regarded as one of the best managers in the world. Obviously, he won stuff and that everywhere he'd been. I think he's still managerless at the moment, if I'm right. But despite the fact that he won the Europa League and League Cup in his first season with Manchester United, obviously he didn't exceed expectation levels at the football club, as we all presumed he might have done. But the reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho, because obviously he had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes over some of the top players. Obviously the board weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend to the football club last summer. There was, the philosophy wasn't right under Mourinho, and it was part of the bus football under Jose Mourinho. But actually, Jose Mourinho has been our longest serving manager so far. Since the Alex Ferguson era and that. But yeah, and like I said, it's worse now under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, because I think it did say, this is a statistic, that Solskjaer's record after 28, 29 games has proven to be worse than Jose Mourinho's and that. So I do believe if this, bad run of form, does continue to persist, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will be gone by Christmas, I do believe. I think us getting rid of Solskjaer before Christmas, wouldn't solve many problems at Manchester United. But I said, like Roy Keane did say on Monday Night Football, after the Arsenal game, we need to stick with him. We need to give him more time, to make further more investment. Because don't forget, the majority of this squad is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Obviously, the majority of this team are actually Jose Mourinho's, because Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club, and he spent just under £400 million at Manchester United. So, Solskjaer's inheriting the vast majority of Jose Mourinho's players. Don't forget. But I did say, reflecting on the history of this football club, because we are the most successful team in England, historically. And also reflects on the amount of money that's being invested into the football club. We all know that we should be much more of a commanding position than we're in now. But it's been a terrible season so far. I know there's only 7 games into the season. There's still a long way to go. But we've only registered 9 points, from 7 league games, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. Because I said, Solskjaer's got to exceed expectations at Manchester United. Like I said to you, we've got to get back into the Champions League. So we do need top 4 this season, or possibly where to win the Europa League. Obviously, if we won the Europa League, we'd get automatic qualification into the Champions League. But I didn't actually say our aspirations, will be that top 4, at least in the next 2 to 3 years, in my opinion, because analysing our squad at the moment, it isn't good enough, to win the league. And, Solskjaer obviously, does want to bring that fear factor back to the football club. He wants to bring that winning mentality back to the football club. But we know none of that's been there since the Alex Ferguson era. And I think, Solskjaer can't invoke, Alex Ferguson's legacy, to save him at Manchester United and that. Because like I did say, no one will never replicate what we did under Ferguson. No one's going to ever have as much success as we did under Ferguson. No one's going to ever have as longer tenure, the longest tenure, like we did under Ferguson. And don't forget, like I said, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. When he got recommended in from Aberdeen, was it back in 1984 or 1985? Ferguson was at Man United around 26, 27 years, and after that 4-year period, well, he was on the verge of getting the sack, but obviously he didn't. And then look what he went and accomplished. We had 20 odd years of success under him. Money was spent under Ferguson, but he actually did develop a lot of young players. But like I said, at this day and age now, the boards are too ruthless now. Managers, like I said, don't get the time, that obviously they would like and that. But for me, we've still got to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like I said, I do love him a lot. But it's good that he's making plans for the January window. Ed Woodward is making plans for the January window. But like I said, yes. So these have been recent reports are coming out saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reportedly is preparing to break his own transfer policy by signing Mario Mandzukic in January. Now, obviously, don't forget, we had a lot of players on our agenda during the summer, and I did initially say that, we'll probably reignite our interest in some of them in January. Maybe we will leave some until next summer. But Mario Mandzukic, we was tentatively linked to him during the window. We actually inquired about getting Mario Mandzukic towards the end of the summer transfer window, if you do remember rightly. He would be a very, very cheap alternative, would Mario Mandzukic. Probably the club would have to pay around 15 or 20 million pounds to get him in. I think it did initially say that the board have got element of concerns about recommending Mario Mandzukic into the football club, obviously reflecting on his age, because obviously Mario Mandzukic is now 33 years of age, and that he's probably only got a couple of years left in his footballing career. But I'll admire his career because I think he's had an absolutely fantastic career. Mario Mandzukic, I don't think has actually never played in the Premier League. He has actually been a long-serving player with Juventus. I think he's been at Juventus is at around 5 years, something like that. Is he now into his 6th season at Juventus? But yeah, reportedly, he's one of our priority targets for January. Also, now there's been talks about Callum Wilson going on. So obviously we're seeing these two as adequate replacements for Romelu Lukaku, because we didn't get that replacement for Romelu Lukaku during the summer, and that, which was a disappointment. And I think, in that attacking line, it's, I've got a lot of element of concerns about it, because obviously so far this season, we haven't scored enough goals. We've only managed 9 goals so far in the Premier League this season. Obviously, due to the injuries of Martial and Rashford, obviously we do look more exposed, and obviously with the dismissal of Sanchez and Lukaku, I think it makes us look even more short up front. But yeah, Callum Wilson now, I don't think we went in for Callum Wilson during the summer. Obviously, what I know of him anywhere. Reportedly, he's on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda. Obviously, he's British, is Callum Wilson, don't forget. Now, Callum Wilson is a really, really good player. He's 27 years of age. Obviously, he's been at Bournemouth a number of years now. I think he's been at Bournemouth for around 5 years. For Bournemouth, he has made 148 appearances in all competitions, and I think he scored around 58 goals. And I think in the Premier League, he's made about 98 appearances and scored 38 goals, and provided, I think, around 11 assists. He did sign a 4-year contract earlier on in the summer, did Callum Wilson, so he's under contract with Bournemouth until 2023. So in that aspect, he has got over 3 years left there on his contract. Obviously, Callum Wilson, before he was at Bournemouth, I think he was at Coventry. Well, he initially began his career with Coventry. He was a product of their academy. I think he also had loan spells with, I think, Tamworth and Kettering. They're the 2 loan spells he had. But he's a very, very good goal scorer, and I think, Bournemouth do know how much of an imperative player he is. I think Eddie Howe knows how imperative he is, so I think maybe Eddie Howe has urged Callum Wilson, to ignore, the speculation about possibly Callum Wilson coming to Old Trafford, and I think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United. I think he would be very reliable, to get us them goals and that we do need. But obviously, and I think he's done really well with Bournemouth. I think he also, was their top goal scorer last season. How much would Callum Wilson cost the football club, if he was to go in for, would he cost us maybe around 30, 40, 50 million pounds? But yeah, so reportedly, I think we're set to go in for him in January. So reportedly now, there are 2 main priority targets, Callum Wilson and Mario Mandzukic. I was reading reports not too long ago, and there were also other players, thrown into the equation. It also said, it actually said, we was willing to spend up to around £90 million on Moussa Dembele from Lyon, and Sean Longstaff from Newcastle, and like I said, Moussa Dembele, he's another out-and-out number 9. Moussa Dembele, don't forget, has had experience of playing in the Premier League. Obviously, he actually began his senior career with Fulham, when he was a lot younger, and I think he's mainly had a good career so far. He's still got a lot of development in him as Moussa Dembele. He's just recently, not too long ago, turned 23 years of age. He's now into his 2nd season with Lyon. It was obviously his debut season last season with Lyon as well, and he did really, really well. He is under contract with Lyon until 2023. Lyon did pay around £20 million for him from Celtic last summer, because he did have a good couple of years with Celtic, did Moussa Dembele. But reportedly, I think we inquired about him during the summer, but we was only tentatively linked to him, so he wasn't one of our main priority targets. But reportedly, he could cost the club in the excess of around £50 million and that. So yeah, he's another player we could go in for in January. Like I I said, there was talks about Sean Longstaff from Newcastle. We actually inquired about, getting Sean Longstaff, during the summer. I think, possibly, we could go back in for Jadon Sancho. Don't forget, we was in for Jadon Sancho earlier on in the summer. Don't forget we identified him as our number one priority target in January and that. But obviously we didn't get Jadon Sancho, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. I think if we are to reignite our interest, I think we'll probably leave it. I think we'll probably go in for him next summer, because I think Jadon Sancho is going to be staying at Borussia Dortmund at least for this season. I think Jadon Sancho's got ambitions. And those ambitions are to win silverware, and that with Borussia Dortmund, but I think he's still unsure about his future and that. But I think, again, he would be the right solution for Manchester United. Jadon Sancho, predominantly a right winger, but can also, play centrally. And Jadon Sancho now is into his third season as a Borussia Dortmund player. He's been there 2 years. He's become a fruition for them. Borussia Dortmund only paid around, £7 or £8 million for him from Man City. And he's had experience of playing in the Premier League as Sancho. He did have a good couple of, well, he was at Man City a couple of years. Obviously, he never really got assured first team opportunities at Man City, so this is the main factor reason why I left City to join Borussia Dortmund. But yeah, I think he's still under contract with Dortmund until 2022. But I would be excited about the prospects of Jadon Sancho, in our attacking line, and I'd be excited about the prospects of him, playing amongst the likes of Rashford, Daniel James, Anthony Martial, and he would have more inspiration in that attacking third of the pitch, and he's still only 19 years of age. He's still only 19 years of age, and we are aware that if we are to go back in for him, he is going to cost the club a substantial amount of money. We're probably going to have to pay in the excess of around £100 million for Sancho. Don't forget, there was talks about James Maddison not too long ago, and like I said, I do like James Maddison a lot. I think we're actually seeing James Maddison as a replacement for Paul Pogba, despite the fact that Paul Pogba did stay at Manchester United this summer. I still believe he's planning, to make a move to Madrid in January or next summer. I think James Maddison, again, would be the right solution for Man United. I think he's enjoyed a good start to this season with Leicester. He did really, really well last season, his debut season with Leicester. I think James Maddison was involved in around 14 goals last season, so 7 goals, 7 assists, created more chances than any other player. I think he created around 100 chances in the Premier League. Obviously, Leicester did pay around £20 million to him last summer from Norwich. And he did have a good couple of years in the Championship with Norwich and that. I think it allegedly said that Man United have been interested in James Maddison since June. He has still got 4 years left on his current deal with Leicester. But he is predominantly an attacking midfielder, but quite a few times Brendan Rodgers has put him on the left again. If we're to go in for James Maddison in January or next summer, he's going to cost the club a substantial amount because I think, don't forget, Leicester, Man United did business with Leicester early on in the summer, obviously for Harry Maguire. We paid £80 million for Harry Maguire, and I think if Leicester are willing to do any business with James Maddison, they'll demand a similar fee to what they did do for Harry Maguire. So probably James Maddison will cost us maybe around 70 or 80 million pounds. But yeah, again, I would like him at Manchester United. Another player we could go in for, Christian Eriksen. Now, there has been recent, talks going on about Christian Eriksen. Again, I'd love him at the football club. I actually think Christian Eriksen's preference is to make a move to Spain, because don't forget, Real Madrid were the team that were mainly in for him, during the summer and that. I think Tottenham, are restricted to, to probably, losing Christian Eriksen, to be quite honest with you. It's one of Tottenham, Tottenham do know deep down now much of an imperative player he is. Christian Eriksen has been a long-serving player at Tottenham, and that he's well Premier League proven. I think Christian Eriksen now is into his 6th season at Tottenham. I think he's made 277 appearances in all competitions. He's scored 66 goals. I think the vast majority of his goals have obviously come in the Premier League. He's got under a year left on his contract with Tottenham. Tottenham did pay around, was it 11 or 12 million pounds for him from Ajax back in 2013. But we actually inquired about getting Christian Eriksen towards the back end of the summer transfer window. So he's another player Man United could go in for. But yeah, so we have got so many players on our current agenda, but we've got to be competitive in the January window. We've also got to be competitive next summer, because analysing our recruitment policy isn't too good, to be quite honest with you, and I don't think we've been competitive enough in the last 3 to 4 windows at least. And like I did say, due to our inconsistency, I think I think everyone should take the blame. So in that aspect, it's a mixture. But as I do keep saying, I think the vast majority of the blame does stem from the board. Because the board were ruthless enough during the summer. The board did assure they'd back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and they didn't back him enough. And I think the board do need to assure structural changes at the football club, and I think the reliability of the board. And obviously a lot of Man United fans are angry with the board. I think also as well some of the blame stems from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I said, because tactics and that are questionable, and I will admit we are tactically inept. I think some of the blame does stem from a lot of players as well, because they're not performing good enough on the pitch, and some of the blame also does stem from Ed Woodward and that. So probably we need to see fundamental changes in that. So what's gonna address the problems at Manchester United? Is it give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a couple of more windows to see who else he can get in, get rid of Solskjaer and get someone else in? I think as well we do need to get rid of more players, despite the fact that actually a lot of players have now left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. I still believe now there is more problematic players at the football club. But yeah, I think it's too early yet, to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. So I think we need to give him, at least a couple of more windows. That's obviously, my opinion anyway. Obviously, everyone will have their different opinion on it there. But like I said, Manchester United are not really known for a sacking club anywhere. Despite the fact, we've already sacked 3 managers, since the Alex Ferguson era. And I said, we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers. So I did say, I hope Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure, can become successful at the football club now. And you can analyse it so far this season. I think there's certain games this season, to be fair, where I think Manchester United have played quite well. Obviously we do seem to create chances in certain games and that, but we're just not being clinical in front of goal. We just don't seem, to have that clinic we just don't seem to have that clinical element in that. So obviously, that's an element of concern. I think that the games Manchester United should have arguably won this season. We should have definitely won at Crystal Palace at home. Obviously, reflects on the amount of chances we had in that game. I think we had over 20 odd shots in that particular game. We had the vast majority of the possession, but again wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal. Lost the game. Southampton away dropped 2 points, should have won that. Wolves away dropped 2 points, should have won that. We should have arguably beat Arsenal on Monday, because I thought the performance was better against Arsenal, but again wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal. I think we had around 16 shots against Arsenal. I think 12 of them of course came outside the box, but I thought the game lacked quality. So these games this season that you can pinpoint out, arguably Manchester United should have won. But I think like I said, I think the worst performance of the season so far was the recent game against AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League. I thought the performance was dreadful. Like I said, we didn't register one single shot on target. Not register one single shot on target in our history of the competition. For the first time in our history of the competition. Obviously we didn't, couldn't keep the ball, couldn't string any passes together. And it was just an absolutely abysmal performance from Manchester United. And actually, AZ Alkmaar, could have actually, won that game. But I think everything needs to improve with the football club. Everything needs to improve. The results need to improve. The performances need to improve. The style of play needs to improve, because obviously, a lot of Man United fans are, infuriated, with the brand of football. I think also the home form needs to improve, the away form needs to improve. Don't forget, we haven't won away from home, since the PSG game last season, when obviously, we did produce that miraculous comeback, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as manager. Certain players as well, need to improve. So basically everything, now needs to improve with the football club. But like I do keep saying, I haven't really seen much improvements under Solskjaer, than what I saw under Mourinho, Van Gaal, and of course David Moyes. But I said, I think so far this season is replicating what I saw last season. And what I mean in that aspect is that I haven't really seen much improvements this season. We're actually enjoying a worse season this season than what we saw last season. And last season was bad enough. We finished 6th. Obviously we failed to qualify for the Champions League and that. And last season I think was the lowest we finished since the David Moyes era, because obviously under the David Moyes era, we did finish 7th. But yeah, something has to improve in that at the football club. But yeah, I still despite our bad start to the season, I still think, there is, certain players, that have, played quite well, and that, like I said, the 3 players we bought in during the summer, I think they've settled in fantastically well. I think, McTominay, has had a great start to this season. Reflecting on McTominay's performances, he's deserved to keep his place in the team, and that, of him, regards to McTominay being a long-term solution for Manchester United, I have got element of concerns about that. There is question marks amongst McTominay. Can he keep the consistency up? And, to be fair, I hope McTominay can. I think Fred's done okay in a couple of games this season. Fred's actually performed quite well in a couple of games. Fred needs more time at the football club. Don't forget, he's only been at Manchester United, just over the year. Obviously, we did get him last summer under the Jose Mourinho era, but never really got the opportunity under Jose Mourinho, did Fred. But yeah, he's done well in a couple of games so far this season. We know he hasn't performed, to the same sort of level, as he did do at Shakhtar Donetsk. But yeah, he does need more time. Lindelof, I think, he's done mainly well this season. I think he's had a bad couple of games in that, but mainly blended in very, very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. Also, glad that he signed a new long-term contract as well, with the football club, Lindelof. There's been massive improvements in his game. Lindelof now is in his 3rd season as a Manchester United player. But like I said, don't forget, we have got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and, trying to improve at Manchester United and that. And I don't think, obviously, all the young upcoming players are going to become a success at the football club and that. I think I have got element of concerns about certain young upcoming players. Maybe we should orchestrate on maybe loaning some of the young upcoming players out because maybe they're not good enough for Manchester United, or maybe, it'll be beneficial for their career. It'll also, gain them more experience and that. And it could only turn out, that Mason Greenwood, does become the successful one at Manchester United and that. I think also, to be fair, Alex Tuanzebe, will become a success at the football club. I think he also will, because I think in the games he's played this season, I think, Alex Tuanzebe has done quite well, if I'm going to be quite honest with you and that. But yeah, I credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in that aspect as well. He has got a lot of faith in his young upcoming players, which is obviously, very, very good. But yeah, so Mason Greenwood now, obviously, Mason Greenwood, I've been really, really impressed with him, the games he's played in, so far this season. Now, I think, we need to, start Mason Greenwood from the start in the Premier League, because Mason Greenwood has not yet started again from the start in the Premier League. I think so far this season, Mason Greenwood has obviously, made 5 substitute appearances for the football club in the league, but he actually, started against FC Astana and Rochdale, and FC Astana and Rochdale, and obviously, did score in them 2 particular games. But I think, if Mason Greenwood, does keep scoring, and if he does, keep the consistency up, I think Solskjaer anywhere as assured, he will get more minutes under his belt. Greenwood just recently turned 18, and I think by the time Greenwood's 23, 24, he will become a success at Manchester United, and I think, he will be a world-class centre forward and that. Don't forget, he actually played on the right against, I think, AZ Alkmaar and that. But actually, I think he could start the game tomorrow against Newcastle, could Greenwood. But yeah, very, very good young player. And he's gaining a lot of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's trust. My opinions on Chong, I've got some element of concerns about Chong. Maybe he's one of the young upcoming players, Manchester United, should consider, loaning out and that. He has played a couple of games this season. He's totally comparison to Mason Greenwood. Don't forget, Chon had received loan offers this summer from PSV and his former club Feyenoord, but he obviously turned these loan offers down because he wants to stay at Manchester United at least for this season. But I have got concerns about him. Obviously, Angel Gomez as well. Do you think he should be loaned out? Obviously, Angel Gomez is another one of our midfield options. He did say anyway he's going to be a big part of the squad this season. I think Angel Gomez has just recently recovered from injury, but I do like him a lot. Angel Gomez. I've seen him play well. He did well in the pre-season. Also, Jimmy Garner. I don't think he's yet played for the club this season. Jimmy Garner. I think he did actually play quite a few times throughout pre-season. Actually, Jimmy Garner was part of the 21-man squad, that went to the Netherlands against AZ Alkmaar, but obviously didn't play. Brandon Williams, he's another one of the young upcoming players. He actually played against AZ Alkmaar. He actually started at left back. Did you know Brandon Williams? Diego Dalot, he's obviously so far this season made 2 appearances for the football club, and he'll get more opportunities, I should believe. Will Dalot? Dalot's recently just recovered from injury. I think he also had a groin problem earlier on in the season. Did Diego Dalot? Dalot needs more time at the club. He's another one of the young upcoming players. He's only been here since last summer, because don't forget we paid around 19 or was it 20 million pounds for him. So we have got a lot of young upcoming players in the squad, but Solskjaer, doesn't only go with the young players. He also goes with quite a few of the experienced players in the Europa League and the Cup games and that. But yeah, he does more or less, give everybody the chance, which is a very, very good thing. Which is a very, very good thing. But yeah, all eyes are on the game tomorrow. Tomorrow. Evening is it? Against Newcastle. It's at St James's Park, 4:30 kickoff. 8th game of the Premier League season. This should be Manchester United's first away win of this season, because, like I said, Newcastle are struggling for consistency in that. They've only registered 5 points in 7 league games. They've only won 1 game so far. This season, but Newcastle, can play well on the day. In recent years, they've beat us a few times at St James's Park. We did actually win there last season by 2-0. I think it was 3-2 at Old Trafford and that. It was 3-2 at Old Trafford. Obviously, that was actually then the turning point of Jose Mourinho's tenure. But I think Manchester United should do it. Like I did interpret some of the stuff Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had mentioned in his press conference yesterday. Building up to the game and that, and he come out with a few interesting quotes, and he said, at least he admitted he's got a lot of honesty, Solskjaer, and that's obviously something else I do like about him. Got a lot of honesty, and he's admitted, he's analysed it so far this season. Solskjaer knows it hasn't been good enough. He says basically, we haven't been, Sorry, we haven't had the best execution. He also mentioned that we're not back in the 90s anymore. We're not back in the 90s and that. Obviously, he knows it's a different era now. With different players, with different groups. Obviously, that are building. And he also mentioned that a lot of teams haven't got the stature like we have of obviously playing the young players. So come out with a few interesting quotes and that. He mentioned I think with a plastic pitch, for the game against AZ Alkmaar, he had element of concerns about the pitch. Actually, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had admitted this, but he said we know how to prepare. We know how to prepare for a game and that. But and like I said, the team news, Solskjaer's obviously going to make a lot of alterations in the squad and that, from the 0-0 draw of AZ Alkmaar. But obviously we're going to see quite a few imperative players out for injury, because I think, Solskjaer has confirmed that all the players now that are out of injury, none of them, will be playing tomorrow against Newcastle. Obviously after the Newcastle game, it is an international break, and then obviously after the international break, it's Liverpool at Old Trafford, and I think the vast majority of the players then would have regained their full fitness in that. So we'll hope to see some more players, back for the game against Liverpool. Newcastle, with Steve Bruce in that, I don't think he's going to last as Newcastle manager. Steve Bruce has, he's managed quite a lot of teams in that, but I just don't think he's got, the stature, to succeed as a manager in that. He was a great player back in the day for Manchester United, I'll credit him for that, but I don't think he's going to succeed at Newcastle. And I thought Newcastle would have been disappointed that they got rid of Rafa Benitez. Well, actually, Rafa Benitez resigned, because I think the main factor reason he resigned, because I think Newcastle didn't assure him a substantial amount to spend, obviously, to overhaul the squad more. So I think this is why Rafa Benitez had left. But Rafa Benitez is one of the greatest managers in that. Won a lot of trophies, especially during his time with Liverpool and that. I think Benitez did win, the Champions League with Liverpool, and he actually did quite well with Newcastle. But I don't think Steve Bruce will succeed with them. But it should be an entertaining game and football and that. But it's a game, obviously, Manchester United do need to win. And for me, to be fair, we have to, basically, go on a winning run and that. So, like I said, players need to improve this season. Rashford, he's been extremely poor this season. I think he did well throughout pre-season, and he also did really, really well in the opening day against Chelsea when we won 4-0. But prior to that, he hasn't really done much, And, when Rashford obviously, broke into the senior squad in 2016 and that scored in his Europa League debut with Midtjylland, scored twice on his Premier League debut against Arsenal. Obviously, and all that, and he was really, really good then. But I think, so far this season, and also in the last couple of months of last season, he has been really, really poor. So he's mainly enjoyed a difficult time for quite a while as Rashford, in comparison to his time, when he first broke into the senior squad. And I'd still say Rashford is a long-term solution for the football club, needs more time, only 21 years of age and that. He won't spend the entirety of his career with Manchester United, I don't think, anywhere. Rashford's just recently recovered from a groin problem and that, and he actually sustained quite a few injuries towards the back end of last season, which I think, taking its toll on Marcus Rashford. He did sign a new deal earlier on in the summer. Obviously, he's on a substantial, 200 grand a week, rising up to 300 grand a week, with bonuses involved in that. But, reflecting, on his, with the amount of money he's on and his status in that at the football club, Rashford needs to be performing better. But he will start against Newcastle, or I think he definitely, will start against Newcastle tomorrow. Paul Pogba, I've been very, very disappointed with him, because, Paul Pogba has actually, played the vast majority of our games this season. He has played the vast majority of our games this season. He's missed about, I think, four games in all competitions, with injury in that. It's confirmed, Solskjaer confirmed that it's unlikely that Paul Pogba will return from injury, for the game against Newcastle and that, because obviously, Paul Pogba didn't play against AZ Alkmaar, but he played in the two previous games before AZ Alkmaar. He played against Rochdale, he played against Arsenal, and he didn't look fully fit in them games. Obviously, Paul Pogba's been further assessed. Obviously, due to his recurrence of his foot injury that he had sustained against Southampton, earlier on in the season, and I think, that was back in August and that. And we do know how much an imperative player that Paul Pogba is in that. And, Paul Pogba hasn't performed to the standards, as, we all expected. Hasn't really exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United anywhere. Paul Pogba's mainly enjoyed a difficult tenure so far with the club in comparison to his time, when he was at Juventus and that. But Paul Pogba now is into his fourth season as a Manchester United player. But yeah, he hasn't, been too good, to be quite honest. He obviously missed a penalty earlier on in the season. So yeah, Paul Pogba will not be playing tomorrow. Anthony Martial won't be playing tomorrow either. Luke Shaw won't be playing tomorrow. Actually Martial and Luke Shaw have missed the last 6 games for Manchester United in all competitions. Obviously we do know that Martial's been out with a thigh injury. Luke Shaw's been out there with a hamstring injury and that, and they've been 2 big misses, because I thought Anthony Martial enjoyed a great start to this season. In them first 3 games, obviously when he was fully fit and that, he did really, really well. Obviously he sustained the thigh injury in the 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace earlier on this season. Got confirmed at the start of this season that obviously Anthony Martial has been given that number 9 shirt, so he's playing more central, because he seems to be more effective in that central position, even though he predominantly plays as a winger out wide and that. So mainly during his Man United tenure, he's been wearing that number 11 and that, but I think he's better as a number 9, is Anthony Martial. You see the best of him there. But Martial and Rashford can both play in the same position, so they are compatible in that aspect, because, Martial can play central, can play out wide. Rashford can play central, of course, can play out wide. But with Martial, I think he's actually close to regaining full fitness. Martial has obviously scored over 50 goals for the club in all competitions. He actually scored his 50th goal against Wolves early on in the season, and now Martial is now into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. He has been here since the Louis van Gaal era, but he is still only 23 years of age. And with Luke Shaw, like I said, he's missed also the last 6 games in all competitions. Luke Shaw is a very, very imperative player. And obviously Luke Shaw won the double player of the season last season, reflecting on his impressive performances. I think he's had some bad spells during his Man United career. He had a bad spell under Mourinho. He has sustained quite a few injuries, but I think prior to that he's done, mainly well. Obviously, mainly due to Luke Shaw's absence. We know that it's been mainly Ashley Young that's been fulfilling his role at left back, especially recently in the league games. We know obviously Alex Tuanzebe played at left back against Arsenal. Obviously Brandon Williams played at left back on Thursday against Alkmaar. Obviously, Rojo a few times has been playing at that left back position and that. We have got quite a few versatile defenders. And we have got a lot of defenders in the team. But yeah, so hopefully Luke Shaw Marshall can be back for Liverpool. Like I said, Jesse Lingard, we know it's been confirmed, he will not be playing tomorrow, Jesse Lingard. He came off, with a hamstring problem in stoppage time in the game against AZ Alkmaar and that. And I'm glad in a way, even though I know Jesse Lingard's still an imperative player for Man United, but I think Lingard has enjoyed a really, really bad start to this season. And I say again, reflecting on these states at the football club, he should be, putting a much more better performances out. Lingard, I think he's now, 27, 28 years of age. We know that another imperative player is out for tomorrow, I think, anyway. And Wan-Bissaka is out with illness. Obviously, and Wan-Bissaka has actually missed the last 2 games for Manchester United. He missed the Alkmaar game, he missed the Arsenal game. So this game tomorrow is probably going to be his 3rd game he's missed in all competitions. It will be his 2nd game that he's missed in the Premier League, so far this season. And, he's a big miss because obviously Wan-Bissaka is our first choice right back. Obviously, a lot of people believe he's actually been one of our most consistent signings and that, but very, very good. And I think he can emulate into like a Gary Neville and that. And I think he can, be our fullback, for the next decade, Kenan Wan-Bissaka. But yeah, he's done really, really well, and I think he's settled in, very, very well at the football club. But I don't think he's going to be playing tomorrow. So I actually believe that Alex Tuanzebe could get the start at right back tomorrow. Maybe Young could play at the right back. I don't know. We've got quite a few, players we can play at fullback. And that's obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will make a decision what he's going to do. But yeah, I don't think Bissaka's going to be playing here tomorrow. We know that Eric Bailly's a long-term absence. He's out until the end of December or the new year with a knee injury. Obviously, Fosu Mensah is still out with injury and that. So we have still got quite a few players out of injury. I think, Phil Jones obviously is out injured. This is why Jones didn't play in the game against Alkmaar. Jones again, he's been a long-serving player with the football club now. Jones is now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. He's been here 8 years, but he's in his 9th season now. Don't forget, we give Phil Jones a new long-term contract last season and that. And I think he's a problematic player, and I think he's one of the players that we should consider moving on in January or next summer. But Jones, like I said, the likes of Jones and Rojo, and likes of Jones, Rojo, and that, and up there will get more of their chances in the Europa League games and that. But yeah, so they're the players with course we have got injured and that. And I said on a regular basis this season, Solskjaer will probably go with that 4-2-3-1. I think he'll try different formations. Don't forget, he went with a rare formation against AZ Alkmaar. He actually went with a 4-1-4-1, but he usually does go with a 4-2-3-1 to Solskjaer. If he doesn't go with a 4-2-3-1, he does go with a 4-3-3 formation and that. But like I said, a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United. Like I said, over £140 million has been spent this summer under Solskjaer. Just under 400 million was spent under Mourinho. 200 million pounds was spent under Van Gaal. Around 60 million pounds was spent under Moyes. So I think, an estimated guess, we've spent around 800 million pounds in all the managerial eras since the Alex Ferguson era. So we spent just under £1 billion, and obviously that's not taking into account, what was spent under Alex Ferguson. So it just proves always spending big on players and getting them Glasgow players doesn't always guarantee you success, and that's been proven with the football club in the last 6 or 7 years. And like I said, there is more players that need to leave. I'm happy that we did get that, summer clear out during the summer and that we did want, but I still believe there is more problematic players with the football club. So the main part of this video, guys, was to, give you the news about, who I think Man United are going to go in for in January. Now, reportedly, Callum Wilson and Mario Mandzukic are reportedly on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda, and reportedly we're set to go in for them in January now. And do you think, they'd dramatically improve Manchester United, if they did come in and that? I want to know in your comments below. I do want to know in your comments below and that. But yeah, we want to be back, to being successful. Want to be back up there competing and that. And we haven't been doing this for the last 6 or 7 years. We've been a toxic football club for the last 6 or 7 years and that. We haven't won much silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. Well, we won the Europa League and League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era, won the FA Cup back under Louis van Gaal era and that. We haven't won the Premier League, since 2013, that was in Alex Ferguson's last season. I did say now I hope that this team at this day and age can replicate, what the team did under Alex Ferguson. And he's actually still a couple of players here from the Ferguson era, but I have got huge doubts about it, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. And he has actually, been cultural problems at the football club, for the last 6 to 7 years, I'd say. But the big question is, do you think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer revolution is working at Manchester United? But for me, I'm not going to demand him out because I still think, he needs to be given time. Maybe if maybe if he'd have been here 2 years or something, and we were still, showing this inconsistency in that, then I would definitely want him out at the football club and that. Obviously, if we had to get rid of Solskjaer, I think, there's a possibility chance that Massimiliano Allegri, the former Juventus manager, could come in. We could possibly, reignite our interest in Mauricio Pochettino. But yeah, we will see. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you guys all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.